Okay, further documenting updates. Okay. Yesterday I attended the county commission meeting. This morning, the website didn't have the first session. The website for Hillsborough Television didn't have the first session on their website. It was blank. Went down to Hillsborough County Television. They said it was a result of sunspot activity. So they did give me a disc with my 3-minute segment on it, but they didn't give me the full disc. But they said the entire session from the early morning would be up. So then I went over to Kathy Castor's office, representative in Congress. It took some doing, but I finally got in to see one of her legislative aides and told him the story start to finish. And he informed me, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'll have to research. And it's just probably because I don't live over here that I didn't know this, but he told me that Mark Sharp, the county commissioner, had dropped out of the race. Suspended his campaign after the finalization of the district lines came out. So I don't know if that's true or not, but it might have already been reported about in the newspapers, and bad on me for not knowing. But I want to make sure I said this yesterday. I believe I did, but 4 of the county commission members, at least 4, maybe 5, I'll have to take a look at this, were elected the night Rick Scott was elected. And like I told Kathy Castor's aide, Tom, I don't have his last name, it's on the card, I said, listen, that they probably aren't going to be real hot to investigate this. And he just nodded, yeah. I mean, 4, they're not going to call the Division of Elections, which they didn't yesterday. They absolutely made no move to say, yes, we are going to contact the Division of Elections and look into this right away, sir. They didn't even mention it. They didn't comment on it. Because, of course, they had the diversionary issue of the entire world beating up on a 78-year-old woman for her unfortunate comments, unfortunate and somewhat racially charged comments, let's say, the previous meeting. So they spent full hour, of course, lambasting a 78-year-old woman. And the Tampa Times this morning, of course, was all over it. Full on 15, I would say 12 to 15 column inches. Again, reviewing the unfortunate comments of a senior citizen who has a medical ailment that really prevents her from speaking too much above a whisper. Okay? Someone's grandmother who said something retrograde because she's from the 19-whatevers, And there, of course, so the media has its dog and pony show with the editor saying, run down there and talk about racism, So there's full on 15 column inches on that. It totally ignores the issue that I brought to the table. But then you can expect this. You can expect this. The editors have been told not to look into it. WSP in Tampa contacted me after the meeting. Their photojournalist got my information. I got to get some business cards on it. I don't know what to put on a business card, to be honest. What do you put on a business card? Underwear vlogger. Is that it? What do you put on a, who am I? I'm an author. I guess I just put a business card, author. Voting rights activist. I guess I could do that. But yeah, no forward progress as far as them, you know, doing their job. So I have to come over here, I do my own dime, and get them to do their job. Which, what they should do is contact the Division of Elections. There's no earthly reason why they can't contact the Division of Elections. None. But they're not going to do it. They had their diversionary issue, the little, you know, beat up on the little woman. Okay, get 15 members of the Hispanic Coalition, you know, and God bless Hispanics. I did, you know, come on. But 15 members of the Hispanic Coalition came again to whoop up on a 78-year-old woman, and the media ate it up. A non-issue. Okay. You know, let's end racism. Yes, let's end racism. Okay. You would think this woman was Hitler the way they talk. So anyway, they conveniently, and then they had a gentleman. They had a gentleman who is a greenhouse guy, one of the greenhouse guys. I don't know if he's a plant, but you know, it just seems awful convenient to have this guy. And he was escorted away by the deputies, Hillsborough deputies. So that made for interesting diversion to prevent the county commission. The county commission, of course, can now claim, well, there were just so many things happening yesterday. We didn't. Oh, we couldn't. You know, we didn't. You know. Oh, we forgot all about that. But of course, they didn't vote to do what I suggested, which is, you know, tell the Division of Elections to investigate. That's perfectly reasonable, and it's their job. Okay. If they ignore this issue, okay, there's a point where they become complicit. If anything went wrong there, there's a point where they become complicit in whatever happened there, if they continue to ignore it. And I would like County Commissioner Les Miller to tell me what's more racist than disenfranchising his people, okay, and my people. Because when the African American vote, or the Hispanic vote, or the Democrat vote, or the student vote over here gets stolen, or the Republican vote gets stolen on this side of the state, my vote gets stolen on the other side of the state. I'm not sitting here, I'm saying I'm a civil rights worker, or I'm not Martin Luther King over here. This is self-interest. You know? We end up with this guy in the governor's mansion because of what went on here. What went on in Hillsborough County. We got that guy. And the impact on the classroom across the state in Brevard County, specifically to my kids, was instantaneous. The impact of his initiatives first year, the immediate, instant quality of life of the state of Florida went down. I mean, instantly. The teachers felt the pressure. Teachers had their lives overturned, their jobs turned into a 5-year temporary assignment with no more credibility in the eyes of the legislature and the governor and the school board than waiters and waitresses. You know, they were equated to essentially part-time waiters and waitresses. You know, so the impact of Rick Scott's election was nearly, I mean, the day he took office, the impact was instant. I'm going to do this and that. Teachers are the enemy. You know, teachers are the enemy. Did you know that? Oh, yeah. You know, worst thing to hit this country since polio. Teachers. Did you know that? Were you aware of that? Yeah. So I'm not over here saying I'm a civil rights worker. I'm not Martin Luther King. I'm not, but I can't. I charge Les Miller to tell me what's more racist than disenfranchisement. What is more apt to bring indentured servitude and slavery of all of us than stealing our votes? But of course, it's much easier to excoriate a tiny little woman for being retrograde, for being from a different era. It's so much easier. Oh, these courageous people beat up on a little old lady. you know, you go and look, ignore those big issues. And the media is just as culpable, you know? Let's ignore a screwed up vote. Let's ignore it. They'll go away, sure. You know, well, it'll go, sure, you know. Because that always works, to let people steal elections. You know, I give you any number of examples where that works really good. From Uganda, Central America. I mean, you know, where's Jimmy Carter? We don't even qualify for some of the regulations that Jimmy Carter suggested to the governments of Nicaragua. For instance, Nicaragua, when they got their vote back, he was down there trying to, look, this is how you have a proper vote. And we wouldn't even qualify under Jimmy Carter standards for fair elections in this country. We wouldn't. And I think somebody on rigged elections suggested that we contact the UN and plead our case to the UN that we don't have fair elections in the United States of America. And you know, she's absolutely right. That is exactly right. She's absolutely right. And we have a real strong case because of anybody, when our votes get stolen, people die across the globe. Our corporations are eating up planet Earth, okay? And to secure the pathway for our corporations to do that, we send our kids overseas to fight these wars. You know, my son's in the Marine Corps ROTC, you know? He thinks I'm full of shit because he doesn't understand. Because he's 15. He doesn't get it. He doesn't know what's going on. He's, you know, he's a kid. He thinks I'm full of shit, so he's in the U.S. MC ROTC, and I'm proud of it. The Marine Corps is I mean, it's the priesthood of the armed services. It absolutely is, and he feels it, you know. And it's a proud service, and I wouldn't denigrate it at all, you know. But we send these kids off to die so that fucking scumbags in high towers in New York City can receive an uptick on their stock of 1 point. These motherfuckers, okay, that are sending our kids off to die in these fake-ass wars, and they're trying to do it again. They'll be damned if they don't do it again. And you know, this time, it'll be my kid going over there, fucking coming back in pieces with these scum in these offices. Fucking scum that have put our economy in this position it's in. It makes me sick to my stomach. Sorry to use so many plain-spoken words. Anyway, with that, we'll holler back at you.